प्रेम सुषमापति महादेव की जय, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. Let us all stand, my dear friends, as we begin this beautiful night, as we're about to now join in our wonderful Sri Ramayana Arati. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namo Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Gananam Tva Ganapati Hum Bhavamahe Kadam Kavinam Upamashavastramam Jesrajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadana Shivanmannoti Visida Sadaram Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Na Tatra Surabhat Na Chanda Tarakam Nema Vidhirobanti Kedeva Magnihi Taneva Bhantum Nabhati Sarvam Tasabhasa Sarvam Vidam Vibhate. Om Udvalingaya Namaha. Om Jwalalingaya Namaha. Om Paramalingaya Namaha. Om Suvarnalingaya Namaha. Om Nidhanapatanjakaya Namaha. Om Har Har Parvati Pate. Har Har Mahadev. As we now wave this sacred light, we join in beautiful Arati to Sri Ram. Arati Shri Ram Mayana Jeke. Arati Shri Ramayana Jeke. Kirati Kalitala Leta Siyapiki. Arati Shri Ramayana. Arati Shri Ramayana Jeke. Arati Shri Ramayana Jeke. Kirati Kalitala Leta Siyapiki. Arati Shri Ramayana. Om Shri Ramayana Namaha. Gavata Brahma, Gavata Brahma, Deka Muni Narada, Valamiki Gyana Visharada, Vikasana Kadi Shesha Aur Sharada, Badani Pavana Sutakirati Niki. Arati Shri Ramayana. Arati Shri Ramayana Jeke. Gavata Veda, Gavata Veda, Purana Yashtadasha, Jaho Sastra, Sabagantana Kodasha, Munijana Dhana Santana Gosaravasa, Sarayamsha, Sammata Savahigi. Arati Shri Ramayana. Arati Shri Ramayana Jeke. Om Shri Ramayana Namaha. Kalimala Harani, Kalimala Harani, Vishaya Rasa Peke, सुभग श्रृंगार मोते युवती की दलन रोग भव मोरिया में के तात मात सभविधि तुलसी की आरती श्री रामायण आरती श्री रामायण जय के अब तो कहना बोलो सीताराम गोविंदा राधे गोपाल सीताराम गोविंदा राधे गोपाल राधे गोपाल राधे गोपाल राधे गोपाल राधे गोपाल सीताराम गोविंदा राधे गोपाल सीताराम गोविंदा राधे शरणं शरणं गणेशा गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा गणपति बापा मोरिया गणपति बापा मोरिया सीताराम गोविंदा राधे गोपाल 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 वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। आसन लीजिए सब लोग, लेट्स ऑल टेक आवर सीट्स। On this beautiful night, my dear friends, as we begin the second night of our wonderful Yagna, taking this golden opportunity to worship the different deities of the universe, we have come assembled once more as we will remind each and every one, the family that prays together, stays together. Beautiful words of Baba Bhagwan, Shri Satya Sai. And tonight, once more, we are united with love, with devotion to worship all the deities, these beautiful murtis, the gods and the goddesses of the heavens. As we begin this wonderful night, on behalf of our wonderful mother, Rajmi, Chalisa, the entire family, on behalf of Tropical TV as well, we take this golden moment to say Swagatam, Namaskar karta hu sab log. To all bhaktas, to all devotees who've come from far and near to join with us, we say Jai Sitaram, Namaskar. Once more to Panditji, Pandit Vishnu, we say Bhagwan's blessings for you for allowing us to be here at this most holiest of shrine to receive darshan of our Lord. To all our Pandit brothers who are here as well, Panditji, Namaskar to all of you, Swagatam, a cordial welcome to you all. I touch your divine feet to receive blessings as a child to you all tonight. To all the devotees who have taken this moment to receive darshan of God and the blessings of Bhagwan in all forms and manifestations, Swagatam. To the members of my wonderful group, to Bhai Adesh and to Rietesh as well, we especially welcome them to the Yagna. And to all our followers who are tuned in via Facebook, we say Namaskar. As we begin this night, without further ado, let us all sit upright. Let us close our eyes and let us forget the entire world. Tonight we have assembled to receive blessings of Lord Hanumanji. It is a night where Pavanaputra, he shines. It is said on a night like this, devotees around the world, they are gathering at the mandirs of Mahaviri Swami, the temples of Sri Ram, and they are praising Prabhu Ramachandra. So to begin this night with devotion, pranams to you, Lord. वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देवा सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा या देवी सर्वभूतेषु दुर्गारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु लक्ष्मीरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु सरस्वतीरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नागेन्द्रहाराय त्रिलोचनाय भस्मांगरागाय महेश्वराय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगंबराय तस्मै नकाराय नमः शिवाय तस्मै नकाराय नमः शिवाय. As we praise our Lord, tonight we will worship Lord Hanuman. He is known to be the most mightiest of all. He is called by many names: Pavanaputra, Anjaneya, Maruti, Sankat Mochan, Mahavir, Bajrangabali, Shri Hanuman. And as we begin our worship tonight, we're about to chant beautiful verses of our Lord. Concentrate and fix your mind at the feet of Mahavir Swami as we begin this beautiful night. Pranavau Pavana Kumar Kalabana Pavaka Gyana Dhana Jasu Hridayaga Basahi Rama Sarjapadam Atulita Baladhamam Hema Shailabadiham Danuzavana Krishanam Yani Nama Graganyam Sakala Gunanidhanam Vanara Namadesham Raghupati Priyabhaktam Vatajatam Namami Charana Sharaname Aike Dharutihara कष्टों से रक्षा करो कष्टों से रक्षा करो पवन पुत्र हनुमान हाथ जोड़ विनती करो सुनो वीर हनुमान संकट से रक्षा करो संकट से रक्षा करो हे अंजनी केला पवन पुत्र हनुमान. And we begin this night, my friends, with 40 verses of Shri Hanuman Chalisa. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja निज मन मुकुर सुधार वरण रघुवर विमल जसु जो दायक परचार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार। All together, पवन सुत हनुमान की, बजरंगबली की जय। जय श्री हनुमान। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत तुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी सुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरण विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित किस महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता पवन पुत्र हनुमान। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मोज जनेऊ साज शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बस्या महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता पवन पुत्र हनुमान। जय श्री राम। रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता पवन पुत्र हनुमान। क्या बात। जय श्री राम। सहस बदन तुम रोज सगावे अस कही श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीषा नारद शारद सहित अहीसा यम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कपि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुमो पुकार सुग्रीव कीन्हा राम मिलाय राज पर दीन्हा महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता पवन पुत्र हनुमान। ओम श्री हनुमते नमः। तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना युग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानो प्रभु मोद्रिका मिली मुख माई जल दिलांगे जय चर जनाई दुर्गम का जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे पेटे महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता पवन पुत्र हनुमान। जय श्री राम। राम द्वारे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारी। सब सुख लय तुम्हारी शरणा, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपण तेज समारो आप, दीन लोक हांकते कापै। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता, जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। नासै रोग हरय सब पीरा, जबर निरंतर हनुमत वीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, हरदम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन पल पावे। महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता, जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। जय बजरंगबली। चारों युग परताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियार। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता, जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाय, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाय। और देवता चित नर रही, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करही। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिर हनुमत बलबीरा। महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता, जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। जय बजरंगबली। और ज्यादा लाउडली बोलिए, जय 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 बोल। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। दुष्ट बार पाठ कर कोई, तुतहि बंदी महासुख होय। जो यह पर हनुमान चालीसा, हुई सिद्धि साकी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरिचेरा, की जयनाथ हृदय महादेवा। महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता, जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। 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 जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान, पवन पुत्र हनुमान, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। पवन तनय संकट हरना, मंगल मूर्ति रूप, राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुरभु। पवन सुत हनुमान की, बजरंग बली की। I think we could do a little better than that for Lord Hanumanji. Bajrang Bali ki. Yeah, beautiful. Tonight, once more, my dear friends, we've come together to join in worship to that divine Lord in our wonderful Gyaan Yajna. And tonight is a night that is dedicated to Mahavir Swami. Today, many people around the world, they are taking the opportunity to praise Lord Hanumanji. And there's no greater moment than a moment like now that we've just chanted the 40 verses of the Sri Hanuman Chalisa. But as we begin the night, before we go in depth with our Sri Hanuman Charitramanas, and before we touch the feet of Mahavir Swami, we join in a wonderful chant where we invite everybody to sing along if you can or to take part. Remember to feel the vibrations, the energy, the blessings of our Lord. So when you leave tonight, you take it back with you and you feel that strength of the Almighty. As we now join, everybody take part. Rama bolo, Rama bolo, bolo bolo Ram. Rama bolo, Rama bolo, bolo bolo Ram. It's a very simple chant. Everybody bole, Rama bolo, Rama bolo. बोलो बोलो राम बोलो राम बोलो 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 राम उमापति महादेव की everybody all together राम बोलो राम बोलो 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 राम राम बोलो let us clap, everybody. Oh, Jai Shri Ram. By yourselves. Rama bolo, Rama bolo. Rama. Rietesh, you find this song a little tired tonight, right? Bajrang Bali ki! You all eat before you come? Let's try one more time. Everybody all together. Rama bolo, Rama bolo. Rama bolo, Rama bolo. Kya baat, very simple. So before we sing it now with all the music, I want you to turn to the person next to you and see if they're singing with you. You all ready? And if the person next to you is not singing, what are you going to do? Give them one little hunch and say, wake up. Pavan Sudha Hanuman ki! Rama bolo, Rama bolo. Yeah, hit him hard. Rama bolo, Rama bolo, bolo. Kya baat? Hari! Jai Shri Ram! All glories to Bhagwan Shri Ramachandra. Rama bolo, Rama bolo, bolo, bolo Ram. Rama bolo. together. Hanuman bolo, Hanuman bolo, bolo Hanuman. Hanuman bolo, Hanuman bolo, bolo Hanuman. Hanuman bolo, Hanuman bolo, Hanuman bolo, bolo Hanuman. One more time, Hari. Hanuman bolo, Hanuman bolo, bolo Hanuman. 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 Bolo Hanuman, bolo Hanuman, bolo Hanuman. सबको प्यारी राम बोलो, राम बोलो, बोलो
बोलो
राम बोलो, राम
बोलो
बोलो,
बोलो
बोलो बोलो राम, बोलो बोलो राम, बोलो वृंदावन विहारी लाल की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की. Tonight as we join in the golden pages of the Sri Hanuman Charitramanas, and we touch a little bit on that scripture that is called the Sri Hanuman Ank, one of the books of Lord Hanumanji. It is said whenever we hear of the Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, Tulsidas Ramayana, Anand Sagar Ramayana, we always listen to the epic of Prabhu Ramachandra. Is it true that when you hear Ramayana Katha, unless you don't hear the name Hanuman, you don't feel happy? Is that true? How many people feel like that? Put up the hand. I feel like that. If I open that Ramayana book and I'm about to read any Katha from Ramayana and I don't refer to Hanumanji, something feels incomplete. You must hear the name Hanuman. It is said that Hanuman Baba, he is not that God like Sri Rama. He is Gyaraha Avatar, Gyaraha Rudraha, 11th form of Lord Shiva. He is Bhakta. He is a devotee of Lord Shiva, of Lord Rama rather. He is that incarnated form of Prabhu Shankar. But you know what? His name and his glory has spread so far beyond Prabhu Ram. People go to Ayodhya and they're walking through the streets of Ayodhya and they're speaking to themselves and to the people around. You know what? This is the birthplace of Lord Rama. But where is the Murti of Hanuman Baba? Have you ever seen anyone or heard of anyone whose name is greater than themselves? The song goes like this. Anta mein nikala ye pariram, Anta mein nikala ye pariram, Ram se bara Ram. क्या बात बोलो? राम से बरा, राम से बरा. Greater than the Lord himself is his name. Have you ever gone to search for someone, go to a particular village, a community, and you're asking for someone by their name, and probably you meet people who've never met them personally, but the name alone, yeah, I know, down there. You take a right and you make one left and he's right there. The name has become so powerful more than the person's identity itself that his name has gone beyond. Today, devotees, Lord Hanumanji's name has surpassed many other great gods. Why? For what reason? His humility, his simplicity. Being humble in the world will always take you somewhere. And being a person who feels you know more than everybody else will take you nowhere. Always be simple at heart. Always be humble. Where the Katha begins tonight, according to Sri Hanuman Charitramanas, we always hear Prabhu Ramachandra had taken birth. Lord Hanumanji had taken birth not too long after. We hear the Ramayana, where Prabhu Ramachandra grew up and he learned warfare. He was then sent to the forest for 14 years along with Sita Devi. They met with Lord Hanumanji. They decided now to go to the forest after they were searching for Sita Mata when she was abducted. And when they found back Sita Devi, Prabhu Ramachandra returned to Ayodhya. And when he returned to Ayodhya, Ramayana done. Not so? Ramayana finished right there? Is there more to it? Yes, there's more to it. Ramayana didn't just finish there. Tonight from Hanuman Charitramanas and from the Shri Hanuman Ank, it is said when Prabhu Ramachandra left the earth, Lord Hanumanji had nothing to do. Every single day in the life of Shri Hanumanji, he served Prabhu Ram. When there was no physical Prabhu Ram, what could he have done? Lord Hanumanji left and he went up to the caves and to the mountains. And there he sat in a cave and he decided to do meditation. He decided to pray to his Lord, Shri Ram. And while he was praying to Shri Rama, he looked out the entire world and he will chant the name of Prabhu Ram. It is said years will pass and he wouldn't remember or recognize that time is flying and time is passing by because he's engrossed in prayer and love for God. When you're sitting in devotion like Yagna and satsang like this and your glories are felt or the vibrations are felt, sometimes the time passes and you don't realize it. He's praying and years are passing because all he's thinking is Ram. One day when he opened his eyes and he realized that time has passed and his Lord is not there, he got up and just to remember Shri Ram, he took his nails, he walked up to the walls and he started to inscribe now what he could remember from Ramayana. And while he was writing everything that he remembered, we always say that we know Valmiki Ramayana, Tulsidas Ramayana, Anand Sagar Ramayana. Which is the first Ramayana that was written? Anybody know? Valmiki? First Ramayana was written by? Yeah. Who said Tulsidas? Mama, you're guessing. Who said Hanumanji? Kya baat. Very good, Mama. First Ramayana was written by Lord Hanumanji, Hanumat Ramayana. It is said Hanumat Ramayana was where Prabhu Hanuman wrote with his own hands. He took his nails and he inscribed on the walls of the cave. When he started to write Ramayana, it is said visitors were passing by and they saw Mahadiri Swami inside the cave and he was writing Ramayana. And some of them came in and they started to read, and when they realized that everything that was written with the words of the sacred Ramcharitamanas, they went down to the ground and words started to spread. Who was sitting at the base of that cave or the base of the Parvat at that point in time? Valmiki was sitting there and he was using Divya Chakshu, which is third eye vision, and he was writing Ramayana. He didn't finish as yet. Lord Hanumanji had completed. First ever Ramayana we heard was Valmiki. But first Ramayana written was Hanumat Ramayana. When Hanumanji wrote the Ramayana, after writing, he sat down and he continued his devotion. And when Valmiki heard that Ramayana was written by Hanumanji and the first was Lord Hanuman and not his, he said, you know what, I need to go and see that myself. You know how we say seeing is believing? He wanted to go by himself. And while he's climbing up the Parvat to go witness himself, listen my friends. Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Ram Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Everybody. Shri Rama Jai Rama
Jai Jai Ram.
एक बार Shri Rama Jai Rama
Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Everybody bolo Jai Shri Ram. midst of the yajna, don't just sit there. Don't just be there. Remember, again, we are saying it, many of all, we are lucky to be here. Take part, sing, feel the vibration, awaken your consciousness, awaken that spark from within you that chants Ram, Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai. Valmiki has walked up the mountain. He walks into the cave and he sees Hanumanji in meditation. Hanuman Baba hears somebody entering the cave, so he opens his eyes and he sees Sage Valmiki. When he sees the Guru, he puts his hands together. When myself, along with the other Brahmanas and the Gurus entered the Yagyashala, what did we do? We stood. Everybody stood when the Pandits were entering the Yagya, that's all. When Hanuman Baba saw Valmiki, he got up from his seat, he stood there, he put his hands together, and he says, great one, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo, Gurur Sakshat, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. And he put his hands together. And Valmiki ji, he put his hands together as well. And he blessed him. And he turned around and he started to read Ramayana. And while he's reading the Ramayana, it is said at some points he will laugh. He will find some of the tricks and some of the jokes of Ramayana that Hanumanji wrote, and he will laugh. Some of it, he will stop. And he will read, and he will start to wipe a little tears. He will feel some form of sadness, maybe when Sita Mata was abducted. And at some point he will stop and he will look scared when he would see now the emotions of Prabhu Rama felt by the emotions of Lord Hanumanji. And after writing or reading the entire Hanumat Ramayana and coming to the end of the cave, he stopped, he looked at Hanumanji and he bent his head as though he was depressed. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya 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 Ram. Jaya Shri Ram, Jai Rama, Shri Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki, Umapati Mahadeva ki Jai. It is said when Valmiki read the entire Hanumat Ramayana, he stood by himself and he bent his head, and Hanuman Baba is looking now for a remark. Is it good? Do you like it? How was it? And Valmiki is standing there and he says, yes, it is the best I've ever seen. Have you ever met people who see your success? They see you climbing the ladder and they see you doing really well in life. Probably you have a business, maybe a job, maybe how you're doing in your work, or maybe in your school or as a career. And they look at you and say, yeah, you're doing good. But they're more depressed than anything. Have you ever seen where people look at you and they say, yes, I commend you, you know what, good job. But in their mind, they're saying, you know what, why he gets so good for? Why is he so good for? You better he fall down. Have you ever met such people? There are people in the world today who will walk up to you and they will smile with you and they will hug you and say, you know what, good job. And they will turn around and say, next time he should fall down. True. It is the world today. Don't get fooled by the fancies of the world. Samprapte sananihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karne. Samprapte sananihite kale nahi nahi. In the world that we live in, we live for a short time, and while we're living in this world for a short time, people will come and fight us. They will laugh with us. They will stand next to us. They will play to be our friend, and they will not be your friend. The greatest of them, They will stand with you in your job. They will stand with you as a family member and they will say, I love you. They will say, you know what, I support you. Good job. I love what you do. And they will turn around and say, you know what, I wish I could have been here. I don't know why you're so far. And they will throw hate at you. And they will throw malice and jealousy. They will throw anger at you. They will throw bad vibrations. Sometimes you meet your best friend and you expect that good energy. Wow, you know what, I'm happy to meet you. And when you meet them alone, you feel some tension. Where the tension coming from? Maybe they're showing you they're happy. Maybe they're really not. Friends will be there for you and they will be next to you when they can get from you. And when they can't get from you, Jai Narayan, a friend in need is a friend. Am I your friend? Mama is your friend? Better be. Bhaktas, it is said, when Valmiki saw the Ramayana, he wanted to be the first author of Ramayana. So he stopped and he bent his head and he says, yes, Hanumanji, very, very nice. Hanuman Baba walked up to him. He says, your energy doesn't say that. Your energy feels as though you're sulking. What is wrong? He says, no, nothing is wrong. I just thought, I was writing the first Ramayana and when I read yours, it was so good. Mine is like nothing to yours. And Hanuman Baba stopped and he says, wait a minute, so that is your problem? Some people take the littlest things and they make a mountain out of it. Some people take the smallest of situations and they create the biggest of problems in the world. Some people see the little things that we can just put aside and they create so much of stress and negativity in their life by just building and not move. As I give an example, sometimes somebody could walk in the Yagna with a nice white kurta and probably have one little dot right there, one little pencil mark dot. And instead of everybody saying, wow, I love your kurta, you know what they're going to say? Bhaiya, nice, but look at how something they come, let me take it out. They will find that dot wherever it is and they will acknowledge that rather than everything else. Some people will see all your faults, but they will never count your blessings. They will find everything wrong with you, but they will not find what is good about you. Isn't it so? So who are your friends? Your friends will support you. Friends and bhaktas, today, Valmiki stood there. And when Hanuman Baba realized that that was the problem, he says, you are a guru to me. I'm not challenging you. You're like a guru to me. If that is your problem, come. Come, Valmiki. And they walked. He says, what part? Valmiki says, no, everything is good. He says, everything? He took his nail and there he dug deeper and he started to carve now around all the writings that he had written. And when he carved, he pulled them out in slabs. Jai Shri Ram. And he pulled them one by one until he had stacks and stacks of slabs that were inscribed with Hanumat Ramayana. He took it and there he placed it on his shoulder like this, like the mountain that he carries. And he says, Valmiki, come on this shoulder now. And he put his hand, Valmiki saying, what are you doing? Why are you taking down all these walls of Ramayana? What are you doing? This is so good. He says, no. This is worrying you, not so? Sit here, baito. And when Valmiki sat there, it is said, Mahavir Swami, he grew to his most beautiful form. Jai Shri Ram. And he went to the end of that cave and he made one leap into the air. And as he soared into the skies, he went above the ocean. And he stopped right there in mid-air. And he says, Gurudev, you are a guru to me. And if I can't make you smile and you happy, what is my use in this world? If what I have done has become problems and worries and stress to you, he says, Valmiki ji, here your worries go. Right in the middle of the ocean. He dropped everything into the ocean and he says, the world will hear that your Ramayana is the first. Look at the humility of Lord Hanumanji. Can you find people like that today? Everybody wants first. Everybody wants first place. Everybody wants to be acknowledged. Everybody wants to be known. It was like this fellow one day, he went to a store and he bought a ring. And he said when he bought the ring, he wanted everybody to see the ring. But he didn't want to make people feel that he's showing off. So he bought the ring from the store and he started to put it here. Right there. And anywhere he would go, he'd go to the Yagna, he would, Mom, there. You want to put it right there? Put it there. Waiting for somebody to say, wait a minute, you have a new ring. You have a ring. Some people in the world, they're waiting to be acknowledged. Some people, they're waiting for the attention. Nothing is wrong. Sometimes our lives may be messed up to a point where we need some form of attention. But at the end of it all, if you can't be satisfied with yourself, then who will be satisfied with you? Be comfortable as to who you are, and then the world will love you. Friends, tonight, when Lord Hanumanji, at that point, he turned around and he went back to his cave. He says, now, I will meditate, you write your Ramayana. And he left and he went. When Valmiki went down and he started to write Ramayana, years have passed. And Bajrangbali is becoming tired now, he's becoming bored. He doesn't know what to do. So he wakes up and he goes into the forest. He does not realize that the ages have passed. What are the ages? Sat Yoga. Which one? What's that? Who called me a traitor day? Sat Yoga, Treta Yoga, Dwapar or Kali Yoga. Lord Hanumanji had taken 11 avatar that form in the age of which one? A, B, C or D? B? Sure? How many people say B? Treta Yoga. Dwapar Yoga. How many people have hands? Put up your foot. Nobody hand went up. Prabhu Hanumanji came in the age of Treta Yoga. He sat there in that parvat and he prayed, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram. And he didn't realize that the age rolled over and Dwapar Yoga had come. And who came in the age of Dwapar Yoga? Which manifestation of God? Hari Sundara Nanda Mukunda Hari Hari Keshava. All together we sing Vrindavan mein Hari Lal ki, Umapati Mahadeva ki Jai. We sing all together. Hari Sundara Nanda Mukunda Hari Narayana Hari O Hari Keshava Hari Govinda Hari Narayana Hari O. बनमाले मुरली धारी गोवर्धन गिरिवर धारे. Let us clap, everybody. बनमाले मुरली धारी गोवर्धन गिरिवर धारे. नित नित कर्मागन चोरी गोपी मनहारी. नित नित कर्मागन चोरी Manahari. Hari Sundara Nanda Mukunda Hari Narayana Hari O Hari Keshava Hari Govinda Hari Narayana Hari O. Bolo Jai Govinda. Hari Keshava, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Hari Om, Hari Narayana. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. The age of Dwapar Yuga had come. Who came in that age? Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Shri Krishna Govinda
Hari Murari
He Nath He Nath Narayana He Nath Narayana. One day, my dear friends, Lord Hanumanji is walking into the forest. The age of Dwapar Yuga had come. And while he's entering the forest, he wants to disguise himself so nobody knows that he is Lord Hanuman. So he's walking as that most mighty form of Lord Hanumanji, Gada, Mukdar, Jai Shri Ram. And he's walking into the forest now. And he sees now some bananas. A whole Vatika, an entire area is filled with bananas. So he wants to partake of these bananas. So you know what he does? He goes, he changes his form. He is Pavanaputra like we see him to be. But he changes his form to look not like this original Lord Hanumanji, but he's looking like one of the monkeys of the forest, one of the Vanas. It is said his skin or his fur was white in color. He looked like an old bandar. And there he went by the base of one of the trees, one of these banana trees, and he lay down there. And he decided to pull down a whole bunch and relax now. He's starting to eat all. While he's lying there, he has changed his form. He's not what he seems to be. Like we were now talking a few moments ago, how many people have changed their forms around you that they don't seem who they really are? How many people are walking around you and yes, they are talking to you and they're speaking to you and they're coexisting with you, but they are not really who they seem to be. They've changed themselves towards you. Who are real and who are fake? He sits there and he takes the bananas. When we speak about the bananas, it is said in our pujas, when we do Jandi and puja in our home, we have one of the saka plants or the banana plant there. What is the significance of having that plant there? I will start the sentence for you. The saka plant or the banana plant is one of the only plants in the world that... I heard it. Very nice. Bears once. I thought they were going to say bear banana. It is one of the only plants in the world that bears once. After you finish bears, what you do? Yes. You cut it down. It is one of the trees that represent the tree of life. We have one life to live. And while we are living the life like this plant, one day that plant will then bear fruits. We will live our life with this one life in such a way that one day we will become successful and we will receive the fruits of our actions. And at the end of it, Itana tu karna Swami Jab Kya baat Govinda naam lekar Tava prana tan se. One day we will die. One day we will have to leave this world. One day we will leave everything behind. Katha says, Mahaviri Swami sits there. He takes the bananas and he starts to eat one by one. It is in the age of Dwapar Yuga. Who exists in that age? Who is there? Last night we spoke briefly. The 5 Pandavas. And out of the 5 Pandavas, the strongest Pandava, the strongest brother is known as Bhim. He is taller than all of them. He is stronger than all of them. And he is walking through the forest because he's searching for a wonderful flower to take back to Draupadi. And while he's passing through the forest, he's passing through this little spot, this space that has the trees. When he stumbles upon this old vanar, this old monkey's lying down there. And when he walks up to the monkey, he says, "Hey, jao, jao yahan se abhi." And Hanumanji is peeling his bananas. And he looked at him. And he continued to peel and he's just eating away. He doesn't care about nothing. Bhim stamps his foot on the ground, and when he stamps his foot, he says, "Hey, Bhandar, jao." Hanumanji looked at him. He took another one, and he looked him in the eye, and he started to peel. And he's about to eat another one. And while he's looking in the eye, Bhim says, "You know what? I would cross you over, but I don't want to be disrespectful. It's best I take you from here and throw you somewhere far. And then you'll know you should have moved when I tell you move." He wanted to cross him over. What is it? I know we have many elders here. As a child, my grandmother would always say to me, "Never let anybody cross you over. Otherwise, you stop." Yeah, that true? I feel there somebody crossed me. You think so? My grandmother used to always say, even if you're playing a game, never let anybody cross you over, otherwise you stop growing. Is that true? Me know if I proof, but I don't know. He said, "I will not disrespect you by crossing you over." He says, "It's best you get up and leave, Bandar, before I pelt you from here." And Mahaviri Swami looked at him. And he simply put down one banana and he says, "If you want me to move, move me." Simple. And he extended his tail and he raised it and he just dropped it right in front of Bhim. Bhim says, "Don't you know who I am? I am Bhim, one of the 5 Pandavas. I can move mountains, I can lift anything, I am powerful. You want me to destroy you?" And Bhim says, "You know what? Come." And he pulled up his sleeve and he walked up to the bandar. He went by the tail of Lord Hanumanji and he gripped tight and he's about to pull. And when he tried to pull once, nothing. He tried to pull again and lift, nothing. He then strengthened his hands and he wiped out the little moisture that was there. And he took another chance and he gripped again and he pulled. You know what? Nothing. And he thought for himself, you know what? This doesn't seem to be somebody ordinary. But there's some form of fear that is growing inside him. But he doesn't want to say it. So he says to this monkey now, he says, "Listen to me. You know what? I want to lift you up and throw you, but you know what? I just decided I wouldn't do it. Let me remind you something. In case you don't know, I am Bhim. And despite Bhim being a devotee of Shri Krishna, I am the half-brother of Lord Hanuman. You know who's Hanuman? You better move from here before I call my brother for you." And when Hanuman Baba heard half-brother, Hanuman, Bhim, he stopped. He pulled back his tail. He got up. He then pulled his gada and his form is about to change. He's about to transform himself now to his beautiful form. And as he's about to turn back into that original form, friends, Bhim is standing there. He doesn't realize what he's about to see. But Bajrangabali, he's about to show his original form. Suddenly you would hear the voice, "Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram." And then he shouted out, "Jai Shri Ram." And with that shout of the divine Lord Shri Ram, it is said he turned into his original form. He took his gada and he threw it on his shoulder. "Jai Shri Ram." "Bhim, are you my brother? I have heard stories. Are you my brother?" And he hugged him, and when Bhim looked at him, "Hare Bhaiya, you, my brother?" It is said they embraced one another and they held on tight, and tears started to flow from the eyes of Bhim. "Bhaiya, I have heard so much about you. I feel so lucky just to see you today." Do you know something? Bhim hugged his brother, his half-brother, and he says, "I feel lucky to see you today, my brother." Let me ask you something tonight. When last did you give your own brother a hug? When last did you turn to your sister and give her a hug? When last did you turn to your siblings and say, "You know what, Didi? I love you. You're my sister." When last did you turn to your brother and say, "Bhaiya, you're the best. I love you." Today, Many brothers and sisters have fallen apart for little issues. Many brothers and sisters have stopped speaking for days and weeks and months and years for little issues. Little things that come between them. When last did you hug your sibling and say, you know what? I love you. Bhim, half brother Hanumanji, they embraced. And when they embraced, Lord Hanumanji says, I'll feel blessed to be in the company of my half sibling. What about your full sibling? It is not just about appreciating your mother and your father. It is important, but our siblings are also important. Do not live a life where you have fallen apart in your home. Do not live a life where you're living animosity or enemies with your own brothers and your own sisters. There can be so many things in the world that some people come up to me and say, Panditji, you know what? You don't know what my brother did to me, I'll never talk to him again for the rest of my life. But you know what? In my experience, I've seen that when the day comes and that said brother lies down in a box in front of you, you go with the biggest bouquet of flowers and you say, Bhaiya, talk to me now. One more time, please. I've seen it. Don't wait until it's too late. Start living your life now. We are living in the world and we are being absent-minded to the closest people to us. We are taking the closest people to us for granted. Hanumanji embraced his brother. And what did Bhim say to him? Bhim says, Bhaiya, you know what? First time I'm meeting you in real. I've heard so much about your greatness. I have one request. I heard that you grew so tall, that you grow 85 feet tall in the air. Can I please see that form? And Hanuman Baba said, in this place right now, I can't, Bhaiya. If I grow tall, I might destroy the trees around. Everybody would see me from so far. I don't want to create that commotion. And he put his hands together and he says, Bhaiya, please. When a brother looks at a brother for help, when a sister turns to a sister for help, when a brother and a sister turn to one another and they say, Bhaiya, help me now. I need this, I need help, I need something. Why do we turn them down and push them away? Why do we turn them away? Instead of, my friends, turning them, pull them up. In today's world, brothers and sisters are fighting to see who house bigger than who house. Not so? In today's world, brothers and sisters are fighting to see who can buy the best car. Who have a better job than who. And if somebody have a bigger job or a better house, you know what? I am better than you. I'm not going to talk to he again. He too low for me. No, friends. In the eyes of God, we are equal. I said it last night, and I will say it tonight again. When I sit here to give the narration, I feel so blessed just to be here in front of all my Pundit brothers. They're elder to me. They probably know more than me by so much and so far by experience and scriptures and everything. But I feel simple and humble just to be at their feet. In the company of the people of the devotees of God, in the company of your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your fathers, remember, simplicity is the key of the world. Always be humble. Hanuman Baba says, Bhaiya, you know what? I was going to tell you that I won't allow anybody to see this form. But you're my brother. How can I say no? Jai Shri Ram. And he started to grow at that point. And when he started to grow, it is said, Bhim, he's looking at him like this. And he's seeing him going up. And he's looking up. And he's saying, Hare Vah, Bhaiya. And he can't see him anymore. Mahaviri Swami's head is reaching above the clouds. And he's saying, Hare Bhaiya, Auna, come back down. And he's looking at this most beautiful form of Lord Hanumanji. Friends, he blessed his eyes. And when Mahaviri Swami looked down, he says, Bhaiya, can you see me now? Jai Shri Ram. And as he now chanted the name of God, it is said at that point, he came back down to the earth. And he says, Bhaiya, I must leave now. It is time that I must go deeper into the forest. You go and you get your flowers now. And when Lord Hanumanji left, and he's about to go deeper into the forest, he feels the humility from his heart emanating. And when he feels the humility, let me tell you this most beautiful bhajan tonight. One that speaks about simplicity, humility, and being simple in the world. Simple doesn't mean you buy cheap clothes and you buy the cheapest things and you live like you have nothing, You can have the best of everything, but your heart must be humble. The way of life that you live must be simple. Beautiful bhajan goes like this. Ram guna gaay ke, Rama guna gaay ke, राम गुण गाए के, राम गुण गाए के मगन भय तुलसी। राम गुण गाय के मगन भय तुलसी। राम गुण। वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। राम गुण गाय के, राम गुण गाय के, राम गुण गाय के, राम गुण गाय के मगन भय, मगन भय, ओ मगन भय तुलसी। राम गुण गाय के मगन भय तुलसी। राम गुण गाय के। राजा चले हाथी घोड़ा पालकी सजाएंगे, राजा चले हाथी घोड़ा। राजा चले हाथी घोड़ा पालकी सजाएंगे, सारू चले भूया भूया, सारू चले भूया भूया, चुंदी बचाए के मगन भय, मगन भय, ओ मगन भय तुलसी। राम गुण गाय के मगन भय तुलसी। राम गुण गाय के। So the beautiful verse, it says this: राजा चले हाथी घोड़ा पालकी सजाएंगे, राजा चले हाथी घोड़ा। So I will tell you now tonight, a ghora is a horse. It is said long ago when the kings used to travel to go from one place to the next, a king travels on a chariot, not so? When the kings stand on their chariot and they hold the reins of the horses and they're moving from point A to point B, they feel as though they're so big because they have a chariot. And when they look at the man who's walking on the road, the sadhu or the simple man, they laugh at him and say, look at him, he can't do like me, I have a chariot, he's nobody. But you know what? The man on the ground, he looks at the king who is enslaved by the chariot, and he says, just like God has blessed you with your chariot, God has blessed me with my feet. Sadhu chale bhuya bhuya, sadhu chale bhuya bhuya, chunti bachaye. He says, just like you can go from here to there, I can also walk from here to there. You're not better than me because you have a chariot. I have my feet, and I will go the same place that you will go. Simplicity doesn't mean that you need to have everything in the world like the glamours, but appreciating who you are and what God has blessed you with. राजा सोहे महल महला, कमरी बचाएंगे, राजा सोहे महल महला। राजा सोहे महल महला, कमरी बचाएंगे, सारू चले भूया भूया, साधु चले भूया भूया, मृत चले बचाएंगे। मगन भय, मगन भय, हो मगन भय तुलसी। राम गुण गाय के राम गुण गाय के। बोले everybody बोलो, He says, राजा सोहे महल महला, कमरी बचाए के, राजा सोहे महल महला। You all know what is a mahal? A mahal is a big palace like a kingdom. It is like a big palace. It says when the kings are about to go to sleep at night, they have a big house. Kamari bachai ke. They lie down in their big bed, a nice big room. But you know what? With everything that they have, with the biggest and the best of everything, when they lie down to sleep, they can't sleep. Too much worries. They have a kingdom to run. They have servants to take care of. They have so much. But have you ever heard the saying? Money can buy the biggest house, but money can't buy sleep. It cannot buy happiness. It cannot buy joy. You have to create it. It is said they will lie down there and they will be miserable. But what about the man of God? Sadhu chale bhuya bhuya, sadhu chale bhuya bhuya, mrik chale bachai ke. A man of God, he may not have a house. He might have a little kutia. But he will walk on the road. And if night falls, he will lie down by a tree on the ground and he will look up at the stars and he will say, Prabhu, thank you. Look how beautiful the skies have covered me to sleep. Look how wonderful the skies have covered me. The stars are like the blanket that will make me sleep. Lord, thank you for giving me such beauty. A simple man, a man of God, compared to those in the world who think that they are everything. राजा का ये पूरी कचौरी लदकी मंगाए के राजा का ये पूरी कचौरी राजा का ये पूरी कचौरी लदकी मंगाए के साधु का ये सुखी सत्व साधु का ये सुखी सत्व पुण्य मलाए के क्या बात It says राजा का ये पूरी कचौरी You all know what is puri? Puri is like a roti, right? Like a chapati. It's like a roti. Raja kai puri kachori. What is kachori? It is one of the dishes that we have. You all know what is kachori? You all know what is sahina? Yeah. So sahina we say is like the bhaji burger. This is not bhaji. This is made with dal or chana sometimes. Raja kai puri kachori. Laddu ki mangai ke. And you know what is laddu? Lord Ganapati Baba loves laddu. Sadhu ka e sukhi satva, sadhu ka e sukhi satva, punya malai ke. So when the kings sit down to eat, the table is filled. What is it filled with? Table is filled with puri, kachori, laddu, sweets, mitai, serve everything. Anything they want to eat. But you know what? When they sit, they don't think about God. As soon as they sit, they start eating. But you know what? A man of God may not have much. But if he gets one fruit or one grain, before he puts it in his mouth, he says, Lord, thank you for this fruit or this food that I have today. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam. The simple man thinks of God first. A humble person doesn't question God. A humble person thinks of God first. And a person of ignorance and a person of negativity will always question the world and put them first before God. Rama guna gaay ke, Ram guna gaay ke, Rama guna gaay ke, Magan bhai, Magan bhai, oh Magan bhai tulasi. Ram guna gaay ke, Magan bhai tulasi. Ram guna gaay ke, Rama guna gaay ke, Ram guna gaay ke, Rama guna gaay ke, Rama guna gaay ke, Ram guna gaay ke, Ram guna gaay ke. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki, Bajrang Bali ki. There's what you call a yogi and there's what you call a bhogi. Who is a yogi and who is a bhogi? Let me tell you now. A yogi is a person who puts God first. Everything. You buy a new piece of clothing, Hare, thank you Bhagwan. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam when you start to wear it. A bhogi doesn't think about God. When you're doing puja, at some point in the prayer, you're about to make offerings of prasad. Before the prasad is offered, it is called Mahan Bhog. Not so? So some devotees say Mahan Bhog. It is Maha Bhoga. Bhoga means that which is not offered as yet. And it is the great offering of that prasad that we know it to be. But it is a great Maha Bhoga that is about to be offered. Before offered or before offering, it is called Bhoga. After offering, it is called Prasad. You say, Hare, bring the Mahan Bhog to offer. And when you finish offer, to take back the Prasad. It is Maha Bhog or Mahan Bhog, and then it becomes Prasad. In the same way, friends, it is said a yogi thinks of God first. Before anybody eats, the yogi says, Shri Krishna Arpanam. The bhogi, all you bring food, man. How many yogis we have here tonight and how many bhogis we have here tonight? How many people pray before you eat? So we have a few yogis. What about the rest of you bhogis? If you don't pray, that means you're bhogi. Put God first. Pray before everything. Be that yogic person, that person with divinity in your mind, that God comes first for everything. Today, Hanumanji, he has gone deeper into the forest. while he had now met Bhim, he goes deeper into the forest, and suddenly while he's walking in now, he now bunks his shoulder with somebody coming from a different side. Who does he meet? It is said he's chanting the name Ram Ram. And while he's walking, listen. Shri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Shri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya रघुकुलरीति सदा चली आए प्राण जाए बरवतनु न जाए श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय श्री राम जय राम जय जय श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम हो श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की श्री राम जय राम जय everybody all together गजानन स्वामी की जय श्री राम जय जय एक बार श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय Lord Hanumanji is going deeper into the forest. And while he's going deeper, suddenly he bunks his shoulder. He's walking this way, somebody's passing this way. He bunks his shoulder. When he bunks that person turns around and he says, "Hey, Bandar, jao. Don't you know who I am?" Hanumanji stops and he throws his gun on his shoulder. "Who are you?" He says, "I am Arjuna, the greatest archer of all times." "Who are you, Bandar?" He says, "You know who I am? Jai Shri Ram. मैं राम भक्ता, मैं राम दूता. I am the greatest servant. I am the greatest devotee. Who am I? मैं श्री हनुमान जी हूँ. I am Shri Hanuman. And he stopped and he said, Hanumanji? Arey wah, Mahavir, I feel so blessed to meet you. But while I feel joy, I also feel sadness. Hanumanji says, sadness? Why you feel sadness towards me? He says, I feel so happy to see you, Bajrangabali, but I feel so sad. You see, I am the greatest archer of all times. I can close my eyes and I can shoot an arrow at will and I can shoot anything that I want. But it's so sad to know that you traveled the world with that person called Sri Ram. And that Sri Ram, he couldn't even close his eyes and shoot a good arrow. What kind of Prabhu you had? It's best you worship me. Who likes anybody bad talking your God? Jai Shri Ram. Who likes anybody saying anything negative against your dharma, your culture? Who likes anybody breaking your faith? Never let people break your faith and how much you believe in God. When you sit to pray and you sit to worship the gods and the deities and you see that murti in front of you and you see the energy of God, let the world go as it is. When you sit there and you speak to God and you worship and you sing and you chant, let it come from the heart and feel the vibration and the energy of God. Only you can feel it. Have you ever heard people say, you know what, I sit to pray but I'm not feeling anything much. When you sit and you can't feel anything much, there's a saying, what is on the inside reflects on the... If you're not feeling it much, something's wrong here first. Maybe you have something in your heart, your mind, you're unrested about the situation, and you can't feel that vibration. But when you sit with God, pray to the fullest, my friends. Never allow anything or anyone to break your confidence. It is said, Arjuna looked at Hanumanji and he says, Bajrangabali, I pay respects to you. But Mahavir Swami, it is a shame that you follow such a Lord who couldn't even do good. Lord Ram had to build a bridge to go to Lanka, and before he take arrows and he build a bridge, he had monkey and bear building a bridge for he. What kind of God is that? And Mahavir Swami, hearing this, he says, hey, boss, stop right there. Stop right there. Don't ill speak my God. With all the confidence in his heart, he says, I know who I worship. Do you have an unwavering faith for your God? Or are we so easy to break that when somebody come and say, no, but how come your God like this? You stop and say, but you're not true. I should really stop praying. Don't let people break your minds. One line goes like this. Ye jeevan bhita jayega tujhe rona nahi hoga भरोसा कर तू नहीं. One line, if you know it, sing it. भरोसा कर तुझे नहीं ये जीवन बीत जाएगा ये जीवन बीत जाएगा तुझे रोना नहीं. Do not sit and cry in the midst of the problems of the world. Wake up. Understand that we are a devotee of God. We are a spark of God. And shine with that, my friends. People will come and they will hit at us and they will give us the problems of the world and they will try to destroy us and they will try to do the worst things in the world. But you know what? We are better than that. It is said part of the Ramayana, one of my most beautiful explanations when I read it, coming down to Uttarakhand of Ramcharitamanas, it says, Sant और असंतों की करने वैसी ही है जैसे कुल्हाड़ी और चंदन की. हे भाई सुनो, कुल्हाड़ी चंदन की कोकी काटती है, कीमता चंदन अपना गुण देकर उसे सुगंध से सुवसेत कर देता है. अपनी इसी गुण से कर चंदन देवताओं को मस्त पर चढ़ता है. You know what? How do you get chandan from a tree? In the puja, the jandi, we supposed to get a tikka. The tikka is made out of what? Chandan, sandal paste or chandan wood. Why do you get a tikka? Do you know why? So I see not many people got the tikka tonight. So tomorrow morning, everybody gonna get tikka, right? Why do we get that chandan, that tikka? Why is it supposed to be the chandan wood? There are two reasons here. Spiritually, when devotees do prayers and puja and they sit and meditate and they focus on God, it is said there's a main vein that runs here. It runs just above that chakra, right where the third eye is. When you get a tikka and a chandan, it is not because you're going to put tikka in your third eye, you know. Nobody going to put tikka in your eye. It is not to put tikka in your third eye. But when you put that chandan there, there's a reason why. It is said to those for the medical students here, it is said that the veins of the head and the brains, they are connected to a point where one main vein runs from here. It's connected and it comes from here. Have you ever seen people laugh so much that a vein over here starts to swell? That vein comes here and it starts to branch out again and it starts to go throughout the body. Right where the vein passes between the eyebrows, that chakra, that energy point, when you do prayers and worship, it becomes spiritually heated with divine energy. When that becomes spiritually heated, the only thing that could calm that energy down is sandal paste or chandan wood. That chandan wood must be placed right at the center. So we get a tikka in the prayer to cool down that energy. When you get tikka, I see some people get chandan tikka and the tikka all here. The vein not running all day. The vein runs here. It goes at the center of the eyebrow. The tikka, the chandan goes there. That is one reason, because of the spiritual energy. Physically now, it is said the chandan tree has a lesson for all of us. In order to get the chandan off the tree, somebody has to go take an axe and they're going to cut down the tree. And they're going to burst up this chandan wood now in pieces so that they could take that piece of wood and get chandan. Real chandan has a sweet, beautiful scent. This fragrance is powerful. It is said the axe will come and cut down the tree, no matter how big it is, and even though it will cut down the tree, the remnants and the stain of the chandan and the scent will remain on the blade of the axe. In life, the lesson is like this. In life, when you are nice and sweet to people, expect that the higher you go, people will come to cut you down. But even though people come and they try to cut you down, be yourself and give off that sweet fragrance and be nice. Leave the fragrance and the sweetness just like the chandan remains on the axe. Because remember, at the end of the day, the chandan will be placed at the head of the gods. And no matter how sweet the axe smells, he will have to go back into the fire to be beaten again and straightened again. A beautiful lesson from simply the chandan. Hanumanji looks at Arjuna and he says, today you want to cut me down? It's okay. Jai Shri Ram. When people come and tell you things about yourself and about your home and your family and your job and they try to bring you down, smile and say, Jai Shri Ram. Everything by God. Hanuman Baba smiles. He says, what is your problem, Arjuna? Arjuna says, I'm just telling you, your God is not so as good as me. It's best you worship me instead. And Arjuna poses, now listen, look at river there. Hanuman Baba says, let me tell you, you're the best archer. You could shoot arrows. Well, listen then. If you could shoot arrows, I want you to shoot a bridge of arrows in this little river that is there. And if I could put my foot on that arrow, on these arrows of the bridge, and I could cross, I will worship you. But if I put my foot and I break these arrows, Arjuna, light a fire and destroy yourself right here. Because you have no shame for my God. So you know what happened? It is about to be built. The bridge is about to be built, and Arjuna now, he takes his arrows and feeling confident in himself, he builds a bridge. But Hanuman Baba, as he's about to go onto the bridge, he thinks of Shri Ram first. Jai Shri Ram. And he's about to put his foot on top of the bridge. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. Everybody. Shri Ramachandra Nava. क्या आवाज? कंज पर कंजा Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram. Kya baat? One more time. Shri Ram. Navakanja lochana kanja Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram. बहुत ही सुंदर है, so beautiful. Tonight you sing Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki. Bajrangbali, he thought of God first, and he put his foot on top of the bridge, and as soon as he put the foot on top of the bridge, everything broke into pieces. And he says, you see, burn yourself into ashes now. And Arjuna looked at the bridge and he said, you know what? Probably I was wrong. He turned around and he went and he took arrows and he built now a pyre in which he's about to light. And just as he's about to walk up there to light it, suddenly he heard the voice of a Brahmana in the forest. The Brahmana walks up and he says, Are, Mahaviri Swami, Jai Shri Ram. Arjuna, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Arjuna, what are you doing? And Arjuna says, we had a bet, we had a deal, and I lost. What was the deal? Well, I filled this bridge made of arrows, and I said to Hanuman Baba that I was better than Shri Ram, and I lost, so I must burn myself. And then now the Brahmana says, but how couldn't you burn yourself? Nobody was there to witness what happened. Nobody knows if anybody cheated anywhere. Nobody knows if when you build the bridge, Hanumanji went and he pulled out a few from below so that they could be weak. You know what? You cannot judge unless you have. Yeah. You need a witness. So the Brahmana says, let's try it again. Knowing that Arjuna had lost the first time, when you do something and it doesn't work out in your favor the first time, you don't just give up. You try again. But when you try again, put God first on your feet and you try. This time, without the ahankar, without the ego, he decided to pull his arrows. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And he started to release and he started to build the bridge. But Hanuman Baba, Are, Jai Shri Ram, I am mighty, I broke it once, I will break it again. He was too confident in himself. Don't be too confident, my friends. If there's anything that needs to be overconfident, is your love for God. Being overconfident, it is that Hanuman Baba, he walked on top of the bridge and he forgot about Shri Ram this time. The first time he said Jai Shri Ram, the second time he said, look, watch and see now, watch. And he walked without thinking about God. And as soon as he put his foot on top of the bridge, nothing happened. He put the other foot, nothing happened. He started to jump, nothing happened. Jai Shri Ram now, he's calling, but it is too late. He jumped twice and 3 times and 4 times and nothing. And he couldn't understand. And when he bent to look on his side, beneath the bridge, he saw Kurma Avatar, the form of the tortoise of Mahavishnu, one of the Dash avatars of our Lord, the incarnation of Prabhu Ramachandra, the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, beneath the bridge and keeping up the entire bridge of flutes. And then he realized, Prabhu, please forgive me. I had lost all my faith in God for a second. And now that I remember you, God, please forgive me. He turned around and he walked across the bridge and he walked up to Arjuna. He says, I said to you that if I lose, I will be indebted to you. Arjuna, according to the words of the village, I hear that very soon you will have a war that you will have to fight. Today, I, Bajrangabali, will give you my word and my promise that when you're about to fight that war, when you go onto the battlefield of the Mahabharata war, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, I give you my promise that I will be there with you. I will not stand in your chariot. I will not walk alongside you. But I will be on top of your chariot holding a red flag in victory. And wherever they see that chariot, if anyone dares to come around you I give you my word that I will protect you. Pavana Sutta Hanuman ki, Bajrangbali ki, Jai. And when he turned to Arjuna, he says, Bhaiya, please forgive me for the ego. The Brahmana turned away and he walked into the forest, and when he walked away, he's about to disappear. Who was he? It was none other than Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva had come to test the faith of Mahaviri Swami. Lord Shiva had come once more to bring back the energy. And when Mahaviri Swami saw the light of Mahadev going back, he smiled and he says, oh, now I see. Friends, he turned around and he says, Prabhu, Bhakta Hitakari Rama, Bhakta Hitakari. Finally tonight, my dear friends, Mahaviri Swami says, Lord, I will remember always that I am your Bhakta and I will never be beyond you, but I will always be simple and humble as a devotee. Are aise hamare Ram, Bhakta Hitakari. Aise hamare Ram, Bhakta Hitakari. Aise hamare Ram, Bhakta Hitakari. Aise hamare Ram, Bhakta. हमने तुमने कार कमारे कह प्रहलाद पुकारे हो रामा कह प्रहलाद पुकारे हमने तुमने कार कमारे कह प्रहलाद पुकारे हो रामा कह प्रहलाद पुकारे नरसिंह रूप प्रहलाद है तेरे हरि न कुश के मेरे ऐसे हमरे राम भक्त हितकारी ऐसे हमरे राम जय बजरंगबली लंका जाए रावण के मारे संतन दुख चोरावे रामा संतन दुख चोरावे लंका जाए रावण के मारे संतन दुख चोरावे हो रामा संतन दुख चोरावे भक्त विभीषण हृदय लगाए लंका की राज दुलारे ऐसे हमरे राम भक्त हितकारी ऐसे जब जब कष्टा पर भक्तन पर आपन आए हो भाई हो रामा आपन आए हो भाई जब जब कष्टा पर भक्तन पर आपन आए हो भाई हो रामा आपन आए हो भाई तुलसीदास कहे है जोरे रूपा अनेक रूपा अनेक धारे ऐसे हमरे राम भक्त हितकारी ऐसे हमरे राम भक्त हितकारी अरे ऐसे हमरे राम भक्त हितकारी ऐसे हमरे राम भक्त हितकारी ऐसे हमरे राम भक्त हितकारी ऐसे हमरे राम वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की उमापति महादेव की जय. Well, my dear friends, tonight this is where we end our wonderful message taken from the golden pages of the Ramcharitamanas. It is the messages of Mahaviri Swami in the age of Dwapar Yuga and Treta Yuga. As we have completed our Katha, tomorrow night, or tomorrow morning rather, we will be here to join in messages of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Once more to wonderful Mom Rajmani, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you once more for having us to be able to narrate this wonderful message, Leela and pastime to all the devotees. So just a reminder, some devotees, to all those who are here, we were mentioning earlier how lucky and fortunate you are. When Mom called me, it was just like 2 weeks ago. And mom said to me, you know what, Panditji, I think I want to do one day satsang. And I said, Mom, you're sure one day? And she said, yeah, one day. I said, but Mom, you know how many people would love to actually have the weekend? What about 3? And she said, but Panditji, it's just like 2 weeks. And without hesitation, in seconds, Panditji, hold on. Okay, make it 3. And in 2 weeks' time, everything was laid out. I commend you, Mom, for having everything. I didn't see anything fall short. Perfect. And in 2 weeks, for all the devotees who are here, once more, we are extending the blessings of our Lord upon each and every one. Tonight, it has been a blessing to join in Katha to Lord Hanumanji. And tomorrow morning, we will be here from 9 a.m., where we will perform once more worship to the deities and Katha to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. So once more, each and every one, you're invited. As I conclude, let me hand over now once more to Pandit Vishnu to give us a few words and blessings and so on before we join in our final arati. We have to appreciate it, right?
I can take it off now, thank you. Praise the Lord, Vyas Maharaj ki. Vyas ji Yakartha. Gandharvas Kinaras Sangeet Mandal Mandali. मेरी प्यारी विप्र मंडली, दोस्तों दोस्तियां, माताओं पिताओं, आज इस खुशी से मौके पर हम लोग इस वाल्मीकि आश्रम से यहाँ पर, और हमारे व्यास जी बहुत और भरपूर ज्ञानी है. Last night this Yagna has commenced, and our Vyas ji has detailed and elaborately give a very impactful messages, sandesh and information based upon the holy and sacred kitab or pustak, the Mahashiv Puran, Ramayan or Bhagavad Gita. And based upon his divine teachings that he shared so wonderfully to all of us, I just want to remind each and every one of you that he's a young Vyas, and he is also like a little brother to me, Chota Bhai, Adesh and Rietesh also, for their wonderful musical inspiration of, you record me? Me attack me na really about. I mean, I watch Facebook. Kapil Ladwe professional. I just, anyway, randomly. So, but it was beautiful and wonderful last night. He might be young as a young Vyas, and I don't want to reiterate like last night, but I sat there, because tonight we have a fresh audience. And some of you were here last night, but he reminded me when I was a young Pandit. And he brought tears to my eyes because I got into the, you know, the itihas of, parivar ka itihas, aur ye meri mata pita, parivar kahani hai. Brought me that nostalgia of the feelings of how much life is so precious. He said it so many times, last night, tonight, again. And how it is important for us to share this journey together. This journey of life would remain incomplete, because what is the most powerful wealth, acquisition, asset that we have. And very elaborately, he punctuate the words tonight about life and love, which he did last night. No life, no love. No love, no life. And this word, although is so little, 4 letters, L-O-V-E, as in the words of Mother Teresa,